Welcome everybody to our March community meeting. I have cards in the back and their pens. So at the end for questions, if you have a question, you're going to write it on a card and then we'll have people collect the cards and we'll read them up in front. My name is Marsha Roby and welcome. The Dixie Fire Long-Term Recovery Group, known as the DFC, Dixie Fire Collaborative, is a collaboration of nonprofit, faith-based, local, state, or national organizations that work together to share information and resources that can help address the needs of individuals and families affected by the Dixie Fire. The stated mission of the DFC is working to fulfill the unmet needs of Dixie Fire survivors and helping to rebuild the communities of Greenville, Indian Falls, Canyon Dam, and Warner Valley. All programs shall support this mission and purpose, and all who work for or on behalf of the DFC shall understand and adhere to that purpose. Okay, oops. Is that better? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start out with some thoughts on March. This is from Jean Hersey. In March, winter is holding back and spring is pulling forward. Something holds and something holds inside of us too. Aldo Leopold said, "One swallow does not make a summer, but one skein of geese cleaving the murk of March thaw is the spring." Charles Dickens says it was one of those March days when the sun shines hot and the wind blows cold, when it is summer in the light and winter in the shade. This happened to me last week on a walk. I went out of the house with a hat and gloves and a big coat, and by the end I had all of them off because it was so warm. And Maxine says, "I try not to limit my madness to March." March has the quiet strength to wake up nature without rushing it, and you too can grow without pushing it. Let the March wind blow away your worries, regrets, and sorrows. Let the spring sunshine plant the seed of hope in your heart. And spring's just next week, believe it or not. All right, we'll have an update on the Dixie Fire Steering Committee from Sue Weber.
Thanks, Marsha. I'll just piggyback on March Madness as a sports fan. A great metaphor for us. The #1 seed, Purdue, went down to the lowest seed. Yay! Kind of reminds us of us. That's where the underdogs out here fighting, and we're gonna win. I just have two quick reminders. One, please mark your calendar for Taylorsville, April 12th and or April 3rd here. The CCA students, along with the RSF teams and the county, will be coming back sharing out all the data and information they have gathered from those last big meetings, and then looking again to keep prioritizing projects. So keep that. I do not have a time yet, but we'll make sure everybody gets that information. Another reminder, some folks were reaching out about federal and state taxes. So we know that last year in 2022, the federal tax bill that was going through was dropped right at the end of the year. There's a new one back at the table. It's just in its initial stages. The state one had one for Tubbs, Campfire, Butte. We're trying to get the Dixie Fire added to that and get that passed. All to say, it is going to take everybody individually and potentially collectively to start getting your voices and your stories out there to pressure that. That is the only way that's going to happen. The first folks you want to reach out to are Brian and Megan Dolly. I can tell you emails are not the best way to do it because they usually have other people. One of my thoughts was, could small groups go down and make appointments and you actually tell your personal story? One local person had a great idea and she actually did it. She did a 30-second clip on a video of her kids skiing. They lived on Hillside Drive, of her kids, not skiing, sorry, of her kids sledding, and then pushed it up to the house being burned down, and she sent that to them. So for me, it's not gonna just take one group. The DFC already did a letter that is getting mailed to all those involved. But at the federal level, we need to hit every legislator possible, because that percentage of taxes definitely will impact how people can build back, and they need to hear that. So just encouraging everybody to do whatever you can to make sure that all our voices are being heard for that purpose. And I think that's all I have.
Now we have Sherry Pryor with our report on the Treasury.
Good morning. It's nice to see you all here. I hope you survived the gray and snow and the rain and you are unscathed, and it's great to see you here on this sunny day. So thanks for being here. First slide. So those are our original deposits with PG&E money and donation. Next slide, please. And these are our original fees and invoices from, a year ago, within a year. Next slide, please. And our grants that we gave. More grants, fees, our round table grant donation, our planning and visioning donation to a grant, our transportation for our anniversary activity on August the 4th. Next slide, please. And meals and our payment. That's the most recent change, is that North Valley Community Foundation sent Katie his check for our audio equipment, which we thank him for letting us use for almost a year and a half. And also we want to thank him for our ice cream. So if we can give him a round of applause. Thank you. And so our total expenditures are $372,904.69. And next slide, please. Our balance is not up there, but it's $2,595,31. Our commitment. Oh, sorry, is it there? Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I lumped those together. Thank you. And then those are our funds that we still have available, 2,420,000 and some, and we still, with our expenditures, have only spent 19% of our funds.
Okay, now we're going to hear from Peyton Naranek, and she's going to talk about cross-laminated timber house building materials.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Today, I'm going to discuss a little more about building materials, and I've broken it down into a good, better, best approach to really understand the impact that building materials have. I think there's one more. There's a slide before this.
I'm sorry, I didn't have it. I don't. Is it this?
That's okay.
Okay.
I'll improvise.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So the first slide I wanted to show was this good approach. The good approach is your defensible space. That is your first line of defense, and definitely the most important one, and the one that we have quite a bit of control over, whether we're rebuilding or not. And defensible space isn't perfect. You can still, embers travel, it can still come in contact with your house. Your neighbors might not have a perfect defensible space, which can also compromise your property as well as other accessory structures. So that is why exterior materials are equally important. And so this is the better approach. We're looking at fire-resistant windows with tempered glass, our doors, fire-resistant or non-combustible siding. All of these elements have a significant impact on whether or not your house can withstand a fire event. And next slide, please. So this is what a conventional wall system would look like. This is probably what most houses are built out of, which is stick framing. And I wanted to show this slide so that you can understand what the lines of defense are for your wall assembly itself. So we have a layer of siding, and then we have our sheathing, and then we have our wall structure. your exterior siding is your primary line of defense in this type of wall system, and there's not much that's really preventing a fire from entering the cavity. We know that materials can warp, and the actual heat itself of a fire can ignite materials that are within your wall assembly, which is why I want to show what the Sierra Institute really believes is a strong way to build that can prevent a lot of these factors from happening. Next slide, please. So what is mass timber? That's what I really want to talk about and why this might be a better approach to building. And mass timber is an engineered wood product. And basically it's solid pieces of wood that are combined to create a large panelized system. And so what you get is a monolithic wall that's comprised of all of these pieces of wood, and there's no cavities whatsoever. It's a completely solid wall and roof system and floor system. Next slide, please. And so this slide is showing what that type of wall assembly would look like. You have several different lines of defense. You have your metal siding, and if you're building with steel, it's way less likely to warp in the event of a fire. And then you have this layer of completely continuous insulation, and we're using mineral wool insulation in this instance, which is completely continuous across the entire structure, which means there aren't cavities that embers or fire could potentially reach, which is one of the main issues with fires is they enter into a cavity and they combust other components. And then if the fire does get past these other two components, the siding and the insulation, you have your structure itself acting as another line of defense. And the huge advantage of cross-laminated timber is that it actually chars on the exterior, which means it's not getting into the house. It's charring until the fire eventually stops. So what you have is a completely protected interior of your building. And another advantage is you get increased thermal performance. You don't have heat loss through the studs of a wall, which are pretty typical since the insulation is in between. So you're actually getting a super energy efficient house on top of it. And this has actually been rated or designated as a fire resistant building material in the California Building Code, Chapter 7A. Next slide, please. And so I want to reiterate that the Sierra Institute is, we have 3 pre-approved designs that are available to anyone in the community. And we're getting ready for the next building season. We really want to get people in the building queue. So if anyone is interested in our pre-approved plans, please contact us immediately. We want to get this started. That way people can be in houses by fall. I think a lot of people who are rebuilding know that supply chain has been a huge issue. And so if we can mitigate these problems up front and get people started early, then we can get people into houses in the fall.
That's all I have for you.
That's it. Okay, I also have 3 slides that show the different floor plans that we have available to everyone.
We can add them later and share
Okay.
it on.
If anybody wants to see the plans, I have a copy with me, and then you can also visit the Sierra Institute website, which has all of them broken down, and we actually have a form on our website now. So if anybody wants to fill that out, it'll come directly to me and we can have a conversation. And are there any more slides? I also wanted to give an Indian Valley Strong update from the Sierra Institute. So to date, we have spent a little over $300,000 on different components of the community. So our resource center and winter clothes and other needs, we've spent a little over $70,000. Business and restaurant support, we're at about $70,000. The North Valley Community Fund, we've used $10,000 of that. Greenville property cleanups, a little over $12,000, and Evergreen Market, which includes gift cards and food baskets, about $32,000, and then CLT housing, as you're seeing here, about $120,000 to get those pre-approved permit sets. And really want to thank everyone for the donations. We couldn't have done that without you. So I also want to mention that we're looking at the design of a 1,500 square foot home. So if anybody's interested in a potentially larger home than what we already have here, that's something that we're looking into. And we're also working with local engineer Lindsay Kelly on another design. So we have options out there. And if anyone's interested, please contact me immediately and start these conversations now. Thank you.
And you can always go across the street and look at KD's house over there, which is it's gonna be, it's a mess.
And if anybody wants a tour of the houses, you can also contact us and I can meet you over there and you can take a look. And Katie, of course, is more than welcome to join.
All right, Cass Porter is gonna talk to us about the downtown Greenville Development Survey results. They did a while back.
Thank you, Marcia. So you helped us do the survey, started in December. We did meetings in Taylorsville and Crescent Mills, as well as 2 meetings here. And we thought it'd be important to share with you what you and your neighbors had to say about rebuilding downtown Greenville. So the first thing to keep in mind is this is 121 people out of all the people that live in the valley, so it's not everybody. And in order to give you this quickly, we have some percentages for you that make it sound like yeses and nos. But when you get into this, there are a lot of nuances, a lot of things that people had to say. This will give you at least a kind of a nugget of what it said. And then if you're interested, you can contact me to get more detailed information. So the first question was, should we support the community? Let me back up. This was because the steering committee that has the $3 million from PG&E wanted to check what they were already understanding about what they thought the community wanted based on the phase 0 and phase 1, all those community meetings that have gone on. So this is just sort of checking your understanding to make sure that we got it right. And this is what you said. When we asked, should we support a community center for education and business development, including classrooms, a community kitchen, and makerspace, 88% of the people said yes, and 12% said no. They had a lot of different ways of putting that together. Some people like the community center, but not the makerspace and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, people want some kind of community center where we can gather. And where should it be? About 3/4 of the people said it should be downtown area, and 1/4 of the people said it should be outside the downtown area. Next slide, please. So we asked, should we support a walkway from the campground to the community park? And to my surprise, 57% of the people said yes, we should do that, and 43% said no. And a lot of the reasons they gave for saying yes is they like the idea of safety and health. People don't like having to walk from Alta Camp on the highway to get to town. That's not a safe thing to do. On the other hand, they didn't like the idea of infringing on people's property rights and putting a walkway through their property. So, and they wanted us to use the money to support housing and other projects and not a walkway. So there were a lot of comments, but this is generally what people are saying. Next slide, please. So should we support a park where Main Street crosses Wolf Creek? 2/3 of the people said we should, and 1/3 said we shouldn't. And interestingly, a lot of the people who said we shouldn't noted that the recreation district wants to rebuild a park where the community center was, and their property goes down to it, so people would have access. And that would save us the money of having to buy property to do it. So it gave us information about the fact that people do like the idea of a park, but there are some options maybe rather than doing property right at the end of Main Street that would make more sense and leave money for other projects. Next slide, please. Should we keep the spot as a community gathering meeting area? Now the spot is owned by Cassie Bar. The business pop-up business district includes Rachel's Valley Grind and Sam's Crunchable. But the spot itself is owned, those 3 properties are owned by Cassie. And so it's really her choice. But we asked what you thought of it. 86% of people said, yes, we should keep it as a gathering area, a meeting area. 14% no. Many people said we should make it more attractive. As you know, it didn't look real attractive in the middle of winter after the first storm and before the carports went up and all. we're working on that. It is a work in progress. We're finally getting to the point where we can kind of start doing some beautification things, but those were the comments that people made generally. And the last slide, please. So this was a great question. What are the most important downtown projects we could support? And number one was the community center of some kind. Now, people had all kinds of ways of describing this. As I said, some people liked the idea of a makerspace and community kitchen and all that involved. Other people wanted it more as a place where you could hold events with a stage and place and whatnot. But having some kind of place where we could gather was important. Number two was businesses. People want to see. Now remember, we're not talking about housing. This was a downtown survey. So people wanted to have a bank, a post office, restaurants, pharmacy, hardware store, and then the list went on. Those were the ones at the top of the list. So just to give you an idea, they also said repeatedly, make downtown attractive. They wanted it to be cohesive. So it looks like it kind of goes together, not just people popping up different kinds of buildings like you might see anywhere down in the area. They wanted modern buildings, but with facades that reflect our history, some nod to our past. And they wanted infrastructure, including water, sewer, phone, and internet, to be here to support those businesses as well as their homes. And then this last line, people also said throughout the survey, we need to have housing. Even though this wasn't about housing, we need to have housing. And everybody understood that, or understands that without housing, we don't have people and we can't support downtown businesses. They also wanted recreational needs for kids. That came up repeatedly, and support system for senior citizens. And throughout the survey, as people answered other questions, they put little comments about, and put something there for the kids, or and do something for senior citizens, that kind of thing. So if you want more information, I could share more, but this gives you an idea of what the 121 people who answered this survey had to say about rebuilding downtown Green. Thank you.
I'm Lori Rollins-Betta from Indian Valley Rec and Park District, and Plymouth Strong will give us an update.
So hi, Indian Valley, I'm just here to remind y'all that our board meetings are the third Tuesday of every month. Our next one is going to be this Tuesday on the 21st. And we welcome you all to come because we're rebuilding the park. So we need ideas. We're not rebuilding it for ourselves, we're rebuilding it for the community. So March 21st, 6 p.m. and we'll probably be meeting at the bank. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, now we're going to have a PG&E update from Natasha Beamer, and she is down in Chico, so it'll be by Zoom. She's at her son's soccer game, so she's taking a break from that.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me? How
Go
about now?
ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Hi. All right, I'll get going. Hi, everybody. I wish I could be there today. I plan on being there next month, so I look forward to answering any questions in person that you might have. But today I wanted to go over a couple of updates with the PG&E crews. I'm sure you are all prepared for us to be back in the area with the snow clearing. And we have been clearing dependencies and have several projects that are reinstating starting very soon. So if you go to the next slide, please. Keep going. So today I'm going to talk about our underground projects, how to reinstate your services, calls that you should expect from PG&E and your resources. Next slide. So our underground projects are picking back up. Our timeline is going to be through 2023 and into 2024, we have 5 project managers in the areas of Highway 89, Highway 70, and Greenville. If you'll go to the next slide, I'll go into where we are starting. Okay, I will start my video now. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. If there's any issues, we can turn that video off. Highway 89 will be starting March 27th and will be going into the summer. So we have 3 phases for this project. We are almost complete for phase 1 and 3, and we will be starting phase 2 on the March 27th timeframe. This is going to put traffic control back in place. I do not know the specific times and dates for the traffic control yet. We have multiple partners that we are coordinating with, being that, as you all know, Highway 70 is closed. We're trying to, really take that into consideration. And as soon as we have that defined, there will be a press release and communication sent out. Also, starting in April, the Greenville area, we're going to have multiple projects starting the very beginning of April, going back to the Main Street area that we started before the snow came. And then we will also be on Mill Street, and we will be doing that little circle along Highway 89 and Mill Street. And then we will also be progressing through Greenville across the summer and 2023. Traffic control will be in place for both of those projects, as well as all of the other projects as we progress. Highway 70 and its surrounding corridors are delayed, as would be expected with the weather and the closures. We will resume as soon as we are able to, and all of the dependencies have cleared, but we anticipate the April timeframe to the end of 2023 for the projects that will be starting in April. And then we will be going throughout the corridors into 2024. And of course, the asterisk at the bottom, as you all know, this is dependent on weather. All of this could change with the storms that are anticipated. And we are just watching the weather day by day like you guys. Another factor to this is we are completing job walks. So multiple PG&E representatives will be present to do a job walk and see physically what we are going to be constructing. And there's a great benefit to this, having boots on the ground, but that does bring 10 to 15 PG&E representatives and our partners to that area to complete a job walk before we start construction. So you will see quite a few PG&E representatives throughout the area. I'll be at almost all of those. So if you see me, you're welcome to come and ask me any questions, or you're welcome to call or text me if you have any questions. Next slide. So with spring starting next week, construction for you all will be continuing as well. I'd like to take a moment to remind you of how to reinstate your services. Your first step is to obtain your permit with Plumas County, and then apply for your services to be restored at yourprojects-pge.com. This will connect you directly to Matt McGregor, who's your job owner in the area. He's coming with a lot of experience. I've introduced him in the past. Hopefully he'll be, he and I will both be there in person, and we can introduce you again. He is the individual who walks you through your specific property and all of the details necessary to reinstate your services. If you go to the next slide, please. I also want to have a reminder for your services. They will be restored like for like at no cost to you. So whatever you had before the fire is what will happen. You can reinstate after, and anticipate a 90 to 120 day experience. This can be shorter if you get your documentation in advance. And as quickly as possible with Matt. And again, he'll be the representative who will facilitate that entire experience for you. Regarding this, we also are doing proactive phone calls to the community. So you should be hearing from PG&E representatives to assist you if you have any specific questions on how to apply, where to go, things about your property, as well as my information as resources. So for those of you that don't get this message or can't relate to a friend, there are proactive phone calls being made. All right, and then the last slide is resources. If you have any questions, you can call me or text me directly. A lot of people text me, so don't hesitate. That's a great way to get a quick answer. Or if you're in the middle of your application and you have a question, you can do that. My role is to help you get the answer and to find resolution to any of your needs. You can also call the rebuild team at the 1-800 number or the email available there. So I believe, Marcia, that I can take questions now if there are any that benefit the entire group, or people can text me directly if they have any questions.
Natasha, here's one from Bill.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Here's a question.
Sasha, you say it's like for like service, for getting your service reinstated. What if it was 100 amp service originally and you want to reconnect it to 200 amp?
So that that is an option. There might be a fee to it. It depends on quite a few factors, and that will be necessary to have your application put in and a discussion with Matt based on what those factors include. So for example, if we are putting back a larger amp by choice, because that is happening throughout the community, just to get a better experience for you all. And based on your specific property location, it might already be happening. So I'd be happy to answer a lot of your questions directly if you reach out to me at the phone number provided, or you can submit your application and go directly to Matt.
One other question, do you know when the generators in Crescent Mills are going to be shut down?
So the Highway 89 job that we're getting back on and completed as quickly as possible is going to establish that connection, which then means the Crescent Mills generators can be removed. So we anticipate the summer timeframe, but hoping that weather allows for that and that everything goes smoothly as we underground on Highway 89.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Viola Gibson, and I want to know how we get the meter that was put in on our property on Main Street moved. It was not supposed to be out by the sidewalk. It was supposed to be out to the side. And they put it in, and now we're told that's where it's supposed to be. That wasn't where it was supposed to be. So, and I don't get return calls. So.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear you're not getting return calls. I hope that you wrote down my number directly. If you don't mind going back one slide, just making sure that they have my direct phone call, my direct line. I'm sorry to hear that. I encourage you to call me directly so that I can look at your property, your situation, the commitment that was made, and ultimately what was provided. I think you're referring to the transformer pad. Am I correct? The green box? Or are you talking about the meter specifically? Meter. Okay. All right. So let's look at your property directly. And that will give me the ability to answer your question and hopefully meet your need. Just so you know how that, for the benefit of the group, how that experience would look and what my role is, I'm going to contact her directly. We're going to complete a field visit with a field engineer and a construction manager. We're going to evaluate what the commitment was made with the job owner and what was actually done, and try and do everything we can to make sure that we follow through on a commitment. So that's the ultimate goal for the experience for all of you. So that's where my role really comes in as a benefit to you if you have any questions or concerns.
I'm going to read the number because some people can't read it in the back. Natasha's phone number is 530-737-3088. And the rebuild number is 1-800-254-5810. And the email is rebuild@pge.com.
I know that the contrast. Yeah, just tell her it's a contrast, change the contrast.
The contrast is causing the problem of being able to see it, so it should be white, probably instead of colored for just
Or black.
or black. Yeah.
The colors came through different, so I'm not sure, but thank you. That's great feedback. I'll just make it all white next time. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody. If there's no more questions, I miss you guys. So I'm excited to be back into the community with our services continuing forward.
Tasha. Thank you. Okay, I think this was my fault. Cassie is out of town, so. Oh, come on up. Oh, yes, okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm speaking for Cassie for both the spot in the chamber. We'll go with the chamber first. Lots of good things, real small amount of people last week, or I guess it was 2 weeks ago, with all that weather, but we do have Zoom options. So come and join the chamber. We're doing really fun things, trying to really get our calendar together. So again, I think I announced this last time too. Alicia Hamrick is on board for developing the valley-wide calendar of events. I think the next one slated is the Easter egg hunt coming up. And then we have the valley-wide yard sale in May. Easter egg, I think that's being headed by Suzette Reed, or she could point you to who needs to help with that, if anybody would like to help with that. And valley-wide yard sale is Ava Gorman. So please get a hold of them if there's anything that you would like to help with and or contribute or be part of any of those. Have some great events going into June and July, of course, Gold Diggers in July. Most of it is just trying to get information from past events and little committees together to get things going and rolling again. So very excited about that. Over at the spot, also having some great things. Again, same thing, trying to get a calendar of events going. Always want to reiterate that greenhouse and the spot in general is open to the public. It's super warm in there, so it's really great. If you do go use it, just open up those doors for a little bit and the moisture will dissipate and it stays really warm even during these cold months. Test and his group of course were so integral in getting that going. It's been amazing. I think the side flaps are going to be coming up in the summer, so we'll get that breeze going through in the summer and still be covered for everyone. But you know, please feel free to use those. New things happening over there too with different food vendors and some move arounds with things. So come and check it all out. I think Sammy's opening again at the end of the month, beginning of next month. We don't know if Mary's going to be coming back. She'll be mobile in different spots. I think it was a little constrained in there for her, but we love her and she's abroad right now. We miss her. She'll be back though. The hot dogger, I think is the name of it, is I think coming in fairly permanently. I believe what's the status on the thrift store? Do we know? Is anyone here from that, or Kes, do you know what the projection is of opening?
We're working on it. It'll be ready in 2 weeks. No, we're working on it again at 2 o'clock today, finishing up the ramps and the stairs. And as soon as we get an approval from building department, then the thrift store will be able to move in. And then as long as you're asking, the tool trailer, we're still working on insurance. So as soon as we get that set, both of those things are ready to go.
Thank you. Wonderful. Can't wait to have those open. Question back there, or I think.
About the thrift store, has a meeting on Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Tuesday, 4 p.m. Loomis Bank thrift store meeting. And I'm sure they could use lots and lots of help getting it up and running, even if you don't want to be a long-term volunteer, but setting up, sorting through all the stuff that's going to come in for it and getting it all ready. So yeah, let's join together and keep this going. Can't wait to have that open. Yeah. Yes. So Wendy's commented for the food bank is relocating back to its Mill Street location on Friday. So if you use the food bank, go there for that. And I think if you guys want to announce anything in the future, definitely try to get on the agenda or the share out so that you can do that when you need to, Wendy. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now we're gonna hear about insurance from Joni Croft and Jeff Conte.
Hi, Joni Croft here. Can you guys hear me?
Hold on one second, Joni.
Okay.
The other one.
Go ahead, Joni.
Okay, great. So this is Joni Croft here from Arcadis, and I also have Jeff Conti with me, and Jeff is our claims lead. So he's probably a few of you have spoken to or have received emails or correspondence from Jeff. So I wanted to today explain Arcadis's role in insurance recovery for the county, and just I have two relatively quick slides that I believe that there's a handout for them. If not, these can be provided to anyone who is interested. And I'll briefly go over each of those slides, and then we can hand over to questions. And if there's specific questions to anybody's situation, we'll have a phone number and an email that you can reach out to, and we can talk to you. But general questions, obviously, we can talk about those here. So what Arcadis was hired to do by the county was to assist in the insurance recovery process related to specifically the Dixie and Beckworth fires. So I'm the project manager for that effort. And as I said, Jeff is our claims lead. So he is typically who everyone would be speaking with along with his support team. So on our first slide here, this just shows an overview of Arcadis's process, what we do and what you could kind of expect from us. So our flow chart in our process always starts with Arcadis obtaining a list from the county of which properties were involved in the state-led wildfire debris removal program. And then Arcadis confirms which of the property owners had debris removal insurance. So then once we confirm who those are the people that we begin our correspondence with. And then this flow chart just goes through the process of how we contact homeowners, the methods that we do it, or how we're contacting insurance companies directly. And both of those communications just ultimately lead to us getting the recovery payments for the county. So whenever you see our names, we don't work directly for the county, but they hired Arcadis to do this process for them because it is tedious and can be frustrating for everyone, but it's monies that that the county that's due to the county, and we've been able to do a great job on getting them those funds. So that's what this slide represents. So the next slide.
Joni, we only got one slide to come through, so
Okay, that's fine.
you might have to ad lib here.
Okay, that's fine. So the next slide that you may eventually get access to, it actually is a little bit more important of the slide. So we'll see how you guys can get that, but it shows the process for property owners. It's a flow chart that helps you understand what you're responsible for in the process. So it's if you were enrolled in the free, state debris removal program that I talked about, and you had homeowner insurance, your homeowner insurance should pay that coverage directly to the county. Sometimes the insurance companies paid it to the property owner. So you may have received a check for however much your coverage was for. Those funds are supposed to be handed over to the county. So we have been either two scenarios that Arcadis has been working with. We either reach out to you when we find out that you did receive funds. We work for you to give a check or to give those to the county. If there hasn't been anything from your insurance company provided to you, then we work direct with the insurance company and they'll send a check to the county, and then you don't have to do anything. So that's just our process. Everyone understands generally when you see our name, how we're involved in what we're doing. I know that there are a million different scenarios for everyone's specific situation, and what your what type of questions you have. So our one of our major roles is to answer all those and to be involved and to get those resolved. So that's what we're here for. So that's generally what I hope to talk about, and then just to be available for anyone who needs us. I think that's it that I have.
Thank you, Joni
Yeah.
and Jeffrey.
Jeff, did you have anything?
So we have Jeff on. He's definitely going to be better at answering any specific questions, and he can provide his information. So that's why I wanted to make sure that he was available. But I mean, unless you have something else that you want to add to what I spoke of, Jeff.
Nothing too much to add, just to kind of introduce myself to the county and to a lot of the property owners who I may have spoken to or may not have. But yeah, just be on the lookout for potential emails from us. We do have a phone number and an email that I don't have on a slide. I can put it in the chat and people can circulate that around. And if you want to send me a quick email, if you want to set up a meeting time with me to discuss your policy and where you stand in the process, I can carve out some time. There's a lot of you guys and one of me. So it's probably easiest to go through email and then we can set up a time to talk.
Right, thank you. And now Laura Wheeler will talk about some updates from the Innovation Hub.
Thanks, Marcia. So I'm here to just give a quick update. I know we got a lot of people speaking today. We've been working with Bliss Branding Marketing Agency in Clio, and they've gotten our website up and running. Or if it's not up and running today, it should be by next week. It tells about what we do when our workshops are. We have the next 6 months worth of workshops and entrepreneur rallies listed at the website. So Indian Valley Innovation Hub.org is the website to go to. Next slide. We're going to be showing a little bit about the product makers here in Plumas County. Most of them right now that are with us are all from Indian Valley. This product maker is Jim Cohen. He makes wood products, and here he has a bowl that he made out of wood from a burned tree from the Dixie Fire. We're helping him and 16 other product makers get their products off the ground, and so we can eventually export products from here. Next slide. At the website, there's going to be more information about our new program, the Made in Plumas County program. Clint, can you come up and talk with me a little bit about this? So we're real excited about this program, and Clint has a few products to show here.
Thank you, Laura. It's amazing how many products we actually make here in Plumas County. Anything from wood products to dehydrated foods, packaged food, wines. I've got some great energy drinks that are made actually in Backworth. I actually have some organic beer, but I ran out of that. But anyway, we make great things, and when we get our Made in Plumas County logo put on these things, it's going to really help brand loyalty, help sales, and tell the world what we all do here in Plumas County. So we have a lot of great things coming.
So you'll be seeing this logo on products in stores around Plumas County, and we're developing 2 other distribution streams other than the local retail stores. We're working with a family that wants to establish a truck that is taking these products down to farmers markets and stores in other counties. So we're working towards that, exports from Plumas County, and that's our mission. And we'll also be developing an online sales network as well. If you have a product and you're interested in working with us, get a hold of me after the meeting, or you can go to our website or our Facebook page. Thank you.
Okay, Nancy Presser is going to talk to us about disaster case managers. While she's coming up, I want to say, in Brett Cook's office, you can see what the California State, so the School of the Arts has made all these designs for downtown buildings, and they're beautiful. So go in and look at them.
I apologize, I feel unprepared today and I have a pounding headache, but anyway, you don't need to hear that. I'm representing Plymouth Rural Services, disaster case management. We also have a sister organization, North Valley's Catholic Social Services. We do basically the same thing. We're here to help guide you in what recovery looks like for you, whether it's a rebuild, whether it's moving out of county, staying here, whatever that's like. Most of our team is all local, so you may know us, and see us, and we love working with locals. So we just want to do what's right for the community and help you feel right about staying here, living here, and rebuilding here. I guess I won't make a lot of announcements. I will say we should have a round of applause we had 17 families living in Westwood, one in Quincy in a FEMA trailer. We have housed all of those people. Their program ended February. So, the hard work and determination. And that's kind of what we do when you guys are not feeling the hope, which I know happens, that being a recovering person myself. Sometimes we don't have any hope. Sometimes we don't have the bandwidth to make that next call. Sometimes we just kind of want to go in fetal position sometimes and just cry. That's what us as disaster case managers are here. We're your support system, and we will make that extra call. We'll give you your hope, get you to that next place. So thanks.
Matt Fogarty is here to talk about tiny homes.
Thank you. Hello, my name's Matt. So tiny homes could potentially be a really good option for people looking to rebuild after the fire. A tiny home is typically between around 250 and 500 square feet. Tiny homes on wheels is another type of tiny home. Advantages with tiny homes is versus a regular rebuild. With a regular rebuild, you're looking at between $300,000 and $500,000, something like that. And we've all heard the numbers of dollars per square foot times square feet that you want. It's going to be a big number. A tiny home, you can get like a nice tiny home for between $50,000 and $100,000. That's one advantage. It's much cheaper. Second advantage is a lot less hassle. You can buy a tiny home and have it towed. You don't have to work with a GC. You don't have to wait years. You don't have permits. There's a lot less you have to do. That's the second advantage. The third advantage with tiny homes on wheels is that if your place is going to get flooded, or God forbid, another fire comes, you can hook it up and you can tow it. Portola is looking at doing a 40-acre tiny home kind of village, or zoning an area of Portola to allow lots of tiny homes. It's a real solution. There's a real lack of inexpensive housing in Plymouth and housing for working people at the mill or whatever. So tiny homes could kind of fill in that gap. The big problem now that tiny homes on wheels in Plymouth are currently regarded like as RVs, and it's illegal to live permanently in an RV. But tiny homes are not RVs; they're like really well built, just tiny homes. So it would be great if we could pass an ordinance in Plymouth to legalize tiny homes on wheels and to have that as an option for the people who want to live in Greenville, in Indian Falls, wherever, to do that. So I'm looking at working with the DFC on a letter to the supervisors to ask them to look at Placer County that's got a really good tiny homes on wheels ordinance. Maybe we could pass that, just copy their ordinance, and that would solve a lot of problems and give some people an option. All right, thank you.
All right, Kevin Goss with the Board of Supervisors will give us an update on what's going on.
Not too much has changed, I don't think, since I last talked to you. I just want to give you an update on our Washington DC delegation in regards to what we were talking about earlier and the taxes. I think Sue was mentioning. Had some really good meeting about a week ago with our delegation and some really good headway. The Douglas Malthus office is working diligently on this. We're going to have to probably change the bill a little bit to include all human or man-made disasters, such as derailments and whatnot, when you're going to be ending up getting a settlement. But that will increase the cost of the bill, but should get it across the finish line. And so it looks really good. Possibly by October is what I'm hearing. So hopefully stay tuned for more updates on that. Continuing to work with the RSF group. I'm the co-chair of the infrastructure group. We met the other day with the Greenville CSD or Indian Valley CSD, had some really great conversations since they're getting back up and running now, and got some projects from them that we're including and getting a timeline from them and really coordinating with them when and if we get their projects going on the streets. Let's see what else here. If you haven't heard, the governor's office is looking to postpone the middle mile project from Red Bluff to Hurlong, which has the spur that goes down out of Chester down to Canyon Dam. And I'm hearing it's budgetary reasons. I'm not sure exactly where it's all coming from, but we are writing a letter opposing that. And what's that?
Describe the project.
So it's a middle mile project. It's, there's a incentive across the state of California to get broadband into rural areas. And this was one of the middle mile projects, one of the first middle mile projects that was going to be instituted by the state to bring basically a wholesale internet up here. So we're not beholden to one or two different or three different providers. There will be basically a free way of internet to come up here. But that is looking to be in jeopardy right now. And so we are working to push back on that really hard. So it's kind of if you want some more details on it, I can meet with you later. Not really any update on Frontier, Clint. I don't know if you have any updates from Frontier. No. Okay. Also still on the slate for April 25th is the Board of Supervisors meeting here in Quincy or in Quincy in Greenville. And I believe we'll be having it over at the bank. More details on that. I believe it starts at 11. We may be starting it a little bit earlier, depending on some things that I'm working on in the next week or so that will impact that meeting, but won't. It'll be about an hour longer if it is, and I'll let you guys know. And it'll be some very good information disseminated at the meeting, so please be sure and attend. And I think that's it. All right.
And always remember, if you don't have a disaster case manager, to sign up for one. And now share ups. I know we have one share up. If anybody else, and then I'll let him go first, and then Nancy, if you want to come up afterwards and share that.
So my name's Danny Starr, everybody knows me from around here for years. I responded with quite a number of people back in the late summer to a request from Sue Weber for an oversight committee to be gathered together. So we've been working toward gathering information. The idea of that is to provide some transparency regarding funds that have been gathered on the part of Dixie Fire survivors, right? And to let you know, the initial effort was with the people that were given the money from the Plumas County Attorney's Office. That he came out and got a distribution with an agreement with PG&E. We sent out letters in August. We got 2 responses out of about 15. So we're kind of disappointed by that. And because of that, a number of people kind of abandoned the effort. But there are still people, I want you to know, still people trying to push forward, gather this information and bring it to you. We did have gotten Plymouth News to look, even them some of the information that we've gotten in an effort to get this out to you, but we want you to know that we're still looking to find that information. And we believe that everybody should know where the money is going and how it is benefiting the Dixie Fire survivors. So I just want to let you know. And one of those was, we got some information, actually we had to go find it, it's easy to find as far as the North Valley Foundation, which actually, the money that came to the Dixie Collaborative actually came to the North Valley Foundation, then to the Dixie Collaborative, because that's just how it had to go. But once finding that and finding about the information there and their roundtable on how it's distributed, because it's pretty well available on their website and from the report that they produce every year. So the last report was in March of 2022. I guess I'm saying here, it's the 25th of March. And it had a list of issues, and it had a summary of what we look like here in Plymouth County pre-Dixie Fire, what we looked at post-Dixie Fire, but we're looking forward to the updated reports, which should come here this year from them as far as how the impact of the funds that has been gathered through the Dixie, through the North Valley Roundtable and provided to the Dixie Fire Collaborative and other entities. So I just want to know that people are still out there, still trying to find out, because we are getting contacted by a number of people asking where the funds are going. We'd like to see the impact. And we can see line items, but line items don't answer the full story. We'd like a little bit more story so we can get it to you, because not just a line item says it went to Copper Creek Camp, and we know, oh yeah, they're building houses up there, but and refurbishing. Could we get some pictures of that? Or, anyway, it's a little bit more detail. So because I believe you want to know that rather than just a line item. We also, there's a communication issue, getting information out, I think, to you, all the Dixie Fire survivors of what's really going on. I've been a champion trying to get, I don't think everybody wants to go to, Facebook to get the information. That's a poll technology. I'd rather have it pushed towards us via phone calls, emails, postal, these types of things. And we have people requesting that. We've gone out and we've gathered about 2,000 property owner addresses on our own in order to start sending some information out to. But I know that there's been emails and phone numbers collected here, and through the efforts of the chamber, we need to aggregate that somewhere so information can go out. And we need the slides and things to get out from these presentations in a more timely manner. I know it's a struggle, but they don't get out there right afterwards. And okay, I've worked in corporate industry too, and things come up faster, but I know we're working with people who are volunteers. But we need that information. I'm up here, I live now in Fair Oaks. I try to make it here all the time, because it's real important for me to see Greenville come back, because this is where my heart, my anchor is. And I want to see it come back. And we need people to understand that the infrastructure is going to be back and these other things, and where the money is going in order to help everybody survive and come back. Thank you.
No.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is John Russell. I'm new to the disaster. I'm working with FEMA, supporting Tracy Ferguson with the county on a long-term recovery plan. So you'll start to see my face more and more. I live in Oregon. I'm retired Oregon planner after 40 years. I've been with FEMA for 6 years. Most recently, the tornadoes in Mayfield, Kentucky. And before that, the Oregon wildfires. So I've kind of been around Florida Panhandle, Hurricane Michael. So I've seen a lot of things. So I'm just here to help. And any questions, let me know. Yes.
I forgot to mention the job fair, we postponed from yesterday through the chamber. I think that's super important. We put it on for May 6th. That'll be down at the spot. They're gonna have booths and resume builders and places to give resumes, so help with resumes and giving them out. We're thinking about some incentives for folks that actually give resumes to an employer, that there's some sort of I don't know, food prize, something for that. So definitely keep that on your purview and get involved and come out if you're a business, if you need employees. I think originally, yesterday, they had planned it on from noon to 5, and now it's on the calendar for May 6th. I'm gonna assume the same time. As far as the chamber money that was gotten from the recovery through the DA, we're doing our accounting now. It's all public and all 300,000 is still there. So you can put that on your list of where the money is.
Joy.
Any updates on the post office?
Well, we're going to do some questions at the end. Are there any other share outs? I know I have one more, Joy, and then we'll do that. There is going to be a permitting workshop. It was the time that, with all the snow, they had to change the date. It will be at the spot on April 22nd from 12 to 2. You'll find out who's responsible for the permit, what is a building permit, what requires a permit, building permit process, interagency cooperation for permits, review, planning, and inspection. And Nancy has some of these these flyers in the back if you're interested in that. All right.
And I have some information timely and immediate from Jeff Conti, who is with the Arcadis Insurance. We couldn't see his phone number. He didn't have his phone number up. So if you're interested in contacting the insurance folks that the county has hired, the number is 530-394-3454. His email is jeffrey.conte, C-O-N-T-E, at arcadis.com, and there's a website, plumas.insurance.claims at arcadis.com. And we'll put this on the website and the Facebook page.
Any other share outs? All right, then Joan Carter.
Hi, I'm Joan. Hi.
Back on the X.
I'm Joan Carter. I'm the NBCSS. I just wanted to let you.
Closer. Oh, and what is NDS?
North Valley Catholic Social Services, case managers. I have a information sheet here from United policyholders. They're the people that are working with or working for us to try and get our insurance squared away. And they provide us with several different opportunities to get educated. And we have several courses that they're going to be providing for us. One is for builder's risk. So any of you who are going to be doing a construction, you need to have that insurance, believe me. We just finished our home and we were sure as heck happy to have it. There's also going to do a course on smoke damage. So if any of you didn't lose your home, but you did have smoke damage, they're going to explain to you how you can get through that process. And then they're also doing a survivor to survivor forum, which is basically linking survivors together and people who've been previously through wildfires too, so that you can get information from them and ask them questions, how they made it through and things like that. So that information is back on the back table for us. And as I have any more of these forums, I'll make sure and get them to you and have them on our websites, our different websites.
hand me that
Thank you,
webcam.
Darren. All right, if you were a presenter
Just
today,
hand
if
me
you
that.
could come up. And then the cards are in the back. And you can write your question out. There's a bunch of pens too. And then we can go around and collect the cards.
Oh,
Does anybody have any cards with any questions?
I can move the camera.
Maybe
but It would
not.
be better if it.
Wow, I guess we did a good job of answering questions during our presentation. All right, thank you. And they're here if you want to come up afterwards and talk to anybody. You can just corner somebody and ask them questions. Thank you so much for coming. Oh yeah, Sue, do you know anything about the post office?
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin, yeah, Kevin.
I have not heard a whole lot, but I was just sitting here listening to this, and I think it's time that the United States Post Office comes here and gives a presentation. I will make that phone call.
All right, let's go now. Oh, KD? All right, let's go get some ice cream. Thank you so much all for